Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Omega. Welcome back to another Apex Legends video. So today we're going to be taking a look at some more heirloom concepts in Apex Legends. I know a lot of you guys love this series. This is probably one of the most popular series that I do on my channel, and I really love this because we get to look at a ton of cool artwork and designs that people make, including this heirloom concept for Loba right here. Now, I know I've shown that one before. It's like, for some reason, it makes me laugh every single time. It's just so terrible, like seeing Loba carry her father as a fucking heirloom. But we're gonna be taking a look at some more serious ones in this video. I just wanted to get that out of the way right there. But before we get into that, though, just want to ask you guys, if you guys are not currently subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. The goal for this channel is we're trying to get 25,000 subscribers by the beginning of season 6. So that's coming in about a month. We're only about 4,000 subs away. So if you guys could please consider subscribing, that would help out the channel so freaking much. But anyways, the first heirloom concept I have for you guys was drawn by Akumi over on Reddit. She calls this the Inflatable Wattson heirloom, and I absolutely love this. This was like a very extremely popular heirloom concept on Reddit, and one thing that I really do like about this is that it actually makes sense for Wattson's lore. If you guys remember, Apex Legends actually posted a piece of lore around season 2 called A Father's Letter, and this was a letter that Wattson got from her dad, and in this letter it actually contained a paragraph where he mentioned her stuffed Nessies from when she was younger. He said, "I always knew you were special, but never did I fathom that the little girl who taught her stuffed Nessie multiplication tables when she was just 6 years old would grow up to master quantum laser mechanics." So this makes sense in a lot of ways. Obviously, Wattson grew up, playing with these Nessie dolls, and if you guys didn't know, there are like little Nessie Easter egg dolls scattered around the map of Apex Legends, as well as in some, various events that happen throughout the game. And writer Tom Cassiel actually confirmed that all of these Nessie dolls are the same Nessie dolls that Wattson had when she was growing up. So having an heirloom like this, even though it is kind of a toy, would make a lot of sense, and I would personally love to see an heirloom like this add into the game at some point. Next up, we have an heirloom concept drawn by DeRealistBK over on Reddit. This is a super slick looking dagger that actually would work perfectly with Revenant's backstory and lore. As you guys can see, the handle of the blade kind of resembles Revenant's shadow form, in which it's got like the glowing red at the bottom, as well as the black skull on the middle of the handle right there. The coolest thing about this heirloom, though, is the fact that the blade is actually the same piece of glass that Revenant pulled out of himself from the Season 4 Assimilation trailer. This was when Revenant actually realized he wasn't a human, that he was a simulacrum, so it ties into a huge piece of Revenant's lore. And another cool feature about this, and this is something that DeRealistBK actually mentioned in his post, is that when Revenant would inspect this heirloom, he could actually see his human form in the reflection of the glass when he's looking at the knife. So this would tie into so many cool things for Revenant. Like, personally, as you guys know, I'm a Revenant main. I would love to see this heirloom added at some point in the future. Next up, we have an heirloom concept for Crypto that was drawn by A Driver. This is kind of like a futuristic knife that sort of resembles the colors of his drone. I think it looks really good, and I know that a lot of people kind of expect Crypto to have the data knife from Titanfall 2 as his heirloom. Personally, I kind of agree, and I still think that the data knife will be Crypto's heirloom, but this is also like a really cool design. I wouldn't be surprised if Respawn went in a different direction, just because Crypto already has a data knife in one of his banner poses. I can't imagine them just reusing something that, many people have already guessed to be his heirloom. I think Respawn is going to take a different direction with Crypto's heirloom in the future. But let me know what you guys think about this. I know this is kind of just like a simple design, but I really do like the colors. The knife itself looks really clean, and I can imagine having some really cool animations when being used in game. Now, this next heirloom concept is one that I definitely want to get your guys' feedback on. This one is for Caustic, and I know Caustic can be kind of a difficult legend to think of heirloom concepts for. It's kind of like Bangalore in that same way. Like, they don't have a lot of things that really make sense for an heirloom, but I thought that this was a very good idea, so let me know what you guys think about this. It was drawn by Spaceman V, and he calls this the Elemental Flask. So it's a really cool design where Caustic will basically use different chemicals to create different reactions in this flask, which he then kind of like throws onto the enemy. I'm gonna just read the description that he made for this heirloom because I think it explains it the best. So his fire flask would be steaming and boiling, the acid flask, small streams of acid flowing out and bubbling, the ice flask would create icicles and have slow moving smoke like nitrogen oxide flowing out from the top. He would have 3 secret animations that would make the Flask super colorful, bursting with random effects like smoke, acid, bubbles, and more. When he melees enemies, whichever element his Flask is will lash out onto them, almost like swooshing the liquid out towards the enemy. I thought this was a really cool idea, even though it's not like a weapon that Caustic can, physically hit people with. It does make sense because he is a scientist. He could easily be doing these different animations while he's running, and I think this would be a very unique design to heirlooms, because right now, man, like, there's not a lot of cool Caustic heirlooms out there. I'll show you guys another one right here that I was just gonna add into the video. This was drawn by Ahmed Fludge, and you guys probably remember this. These are like brass knuckles designed for Caustic, but this is actually an updated version of the one that I showed you guys from my last video. I thought that this would also be a very cool design, but it seems like brass knuckles are a little too just like straightforward of an idea. Like, it's almost what everybody thought or figured Caustic's heirloom would be, so I would love to see something like the Elemental Flask be added. Despite this, brass knuckles looking really cool and having all the aesthetics that Caustic's heirloom would probably have, I have to say that the Elemental Flask is a very creative idea that I would love to see added to this game. Next up, we have an heirloom concept drawn by Happy Lil Rockin' for Revenant. This is a super dope heirloom concept, and it looks like the heirloom itself is these claws that are coming out of his right hand. It's kind of reminding me of the dragon claws from old school RuneScape. I don't know if you guys ever played that game, but it is giving me a dragon claw vibe right here. I really do like the design and the artwork of this heirloom. I'm not sure if this would ever actually make it into the game because, I do think that they need to incorporate the glass shard somehow into his heirloom. This is a really cool design nonetheless, and I mainly wanted to feature it just because the artwork looks so good. Like, it looks so beautiful on the skin itself. So shout out to Happy Lil Rockin', he did an amazing job with this heirloom concept. Next up, we have an heirloom concept drawn by Shiba over on Reddit. This is an electric fencing sword that is meant for Wattson. Now, the only reason I included this in this video is because obviously Wattson places down fences with her abilities, and this is a fencing sword, so she would be fencing no matter what she's doing. I don't know, I thought this would be a funny concept to add into the video. A lot of people made the connection between Wattson's goofy voice lines and the fact that she could throw out so many good puns with this heirloom, so that's why I wanted to include it in this video. But I also have another heirloom concept that's kind of goofy. I doubt this will ever get added, obviously, but this is the Wattson Baguette heirloom concept. This was drawn by Ramjog Jr. over on Reddit, and this is literally just an electric loaf of bread. Imagine paying $500 for an electric loaf of bread. I know some people out there would do it. I probably would, honestly, if this ever actually got added to the game, but both these concepts are more just goofy. They're not really serious at all, but I did want to include them just for the lulz. Anyways, moving on to the next heirloom concept. This is one for Bangalore that I found on Reddit. This was drawn by Glass Celatin, and he drew like a multi-purpose switchblade heirloom tool that looks like uses both the knife at the front as well as a lighter that's in the back. And as you guys can see at the drawings in the bottom, you can stab someone with this heirloom, you can burn them with the heirloom. I mean, I think it would be an interesting tool for Bangalore to use. Personally, I also think that Bangalore is one of the hardest legends to make a weapon or a heirloom concept for, just because there's not a lot of stuff that we know about her that we could easily just see her using as an heirloom. So if you guys have any other better Bangalore ideas out there, please make sure to leave them down in the comments below. Maybe we can get some other artists to get inspired by some of these ideas, because there aren't a lot of Bangalore heirloom concepts out there to begin with. Now, before we end this video, I just want to get your guys' feedback on an idea that a lot of people have been having with heirlooms. Many people are saying that whenever you get an heirloom for a legend, you should also unlock a legendary heirloom finisher that obviously uses that heirloom to finish off the enemies. I think this would be really cool. It kind of reminds me of the little move that Wraith did in the very first Apex Legends trailer, where she took out the kunai knife and absolutely destroyed Caustic with it in battle. Something like this for every single legend I think would make the heirlooms very unique, and to be quite honest, I'm surprised they don't have heirloom finishers already. It would make sense that since so many people now have heirlooms out there, I still don't, but I know a lot of people do, they should have definitely some heirloom finishers that would just add a really cool way to finish people off and to show off your heirloom in game. But let me know what you guys think about this video, any of the heirloom concepts that I mentioned before, or this idea of heirloom finishers. Would love to hear what you guys have to say, and as always, thank you guys for watching this video. I will see you guys all on the next one. Make sure you drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and yeah, have a great day. Peace out.